Get ready for the exciting showdown, the biggest names, the toughest competition, and the most thrilling moments. From the gridiron to hardwood, and from the pitch to the track. Join us for Sports Central, the most electrifying sports program on television, every weekday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Spectrum Television. Sports Central, your home for sports.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Central, brought to you live and exclusive to Spectrum Television. I am Utabe David. On the heels of what we saw last night in the FIFA Club World Cup semi-final, where one European team have made their way through to the finals already. I'm talking about the West Londoners Chelsea. They were able to get the better of Fluminense 200 blind goals with the new signing already stamping on authority in his first start to life as a Chelsea player. He scored against his former club side. We'll also, of course, from the crux of our conversation with you this morning. We'll also take a look at the other semi-final game expected later tonight. It will be Real Madrid against Paris Saint-Germain. And of course, a reunion between Kylian Mbappe and his former club side. Look at the world of transfers this morning. The WAFCON is still up and running. The Women's African Cup of Nations, with matches expected today. The likes of Senegal, the likes of Morocco will all be in action as well. Take a look at the Wimbledon with some top players already making their way through to the semi-finals already. Current world number one in the WTA rankings, Arena Zabalenka, the Belarusian, have qualified to the semi-finals. So look at all the seeded players and what they have been able to do so far in the competition. But before we talk about all of these extensively, let's bring you up to speed with what's happening, what's trending in the exciting world of sports. Welcome once again. Conversation starts from the world of table tennis, where Aruna Quadri will face world number 4 in tournament third seed Tomokazu Harimoto in a blockbuster round of 32 cash at the US Grand Smash in Las Vegas today, as he continues his quest for a deep run in one of the sport's most prestigious events. The match against Harimoto will be the seventh meeting between the two players in the past 6 years, with Aruna recording 2 wins in their last 3 encounters, though the Japanese ace came out victorious in their most recent encounter, the WTT star contender Doha earlier this year, dispatching Aruna 3-0 in straight games on January 11. The most memorable clash came at the WTT champions Frankfurt in November 2024, where Aruna staged an upset by edging Harimoto 3-2 in in a tense 5-game thriller. That win followed Aruna's dominant 3-0 victory over the Japanese prodigy at the 2023 Singapore Smash, a statement result that showed that Nigeria's explosive forehand. With big ITC Award ranking points on offer, every round at the US Smash carries major implications. Victors in Las Vegas could end up to 2,000 ranking points, while quarterfinalists will receive 350. Aruna's progress through the rounds would see him make significant gains in the global rankings, where he has been dropping in recent weeks after a poor run of results. Away from that, now former head coach of the Nigerian men's national team, the D Tigers, Mike Brown, has expressed his optimism following his appointment as coach of NBA Eastern Conference franchise, New York Knicks. The 55-year-old American, who was relieved of his role in charge of the Sacramento Kings, was officially appointed to be the 32nd head coach in the Knicks franchise history, signing a 4-year deal reported to be worth around $40 million. He emerged as the favored pick after the Knicks conducted a wide-ranging search, interviewing several high-profile candidates, including Taylor Jenkins, Michael Norrie, and James Borrego, and even opened negotiations with women's NCAA legend Don Stanley. Brown is a 2-time NBA Coach of the Year with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2009 and the Sacramento Kings in 2023. The Knicks fired former coach Tom Thibodeau after crashing out of the 2025 NBA playoffs in a 4-2 series defeat against eventual finalists Indiana Pacers. While still talking sports, world #1 Arena Sabalenka survived the scare from Laura Sigmund in the Wimbledon quarterfinals, coming from a breakdown twice in the third set in a center court thriller to win 4-6, 6-2, 6-4 in 2 hours and 54 minutes. The third longest match of this year's championships. Sabalenka advanced to a 12th career Grand Slam semi-final and third at Wimbledon. Sabalenka also becomes the first player to officially qualify for the 2025 WTA Finals with a win. The Lady of Belarusian has made at least the last 4 in 10 of her last 11 major appearances, dating back to the 2022 US Open. The only exception in this time frame was a quarterfinal finish at Roland Garros 2024, where she fell to Marian Drever. She also advances to a tour-leading 9th semi-final of 2025 ahead of Iga Swiatek, 6th in second place. Still talking about the Wimbledon bouts in the ATP category, Carlos Alcaraz, the Spanish international, moved one step closer to a third consecutive Wimbledon title on Tuesday when he dispatched home favourite Cameron Norrie to reach the semi-finals. The number 2 player in the ATP rankings, Alcaraz, did not blink in a slick, a 6-2, 6-3, 6-3 triumph, during which he served all 5 of the break points he faced. With his 1 hour 39-minute victory, Carlos Alcaraz became just the second active man to advance to 3 or more Wimbledon semi-finals, joining 7-time champion Novak Djokovic. Beaten in the quarterfinals at Wimbledon for the second time, Norrie attempted to outlast Alcaraz from the baseline, but the crafty Spaniard remained alert and often caught him out by charging to the net, where he won 14 of 16 points when playing serve and volley. While he is unable to surpass Jannik Sinner to world #1 during the fourth night, Alcaraz is now 2,640 points ahead of the Italian at the top of the ATP Live race tutorial, which indicates who will claim the ATP year-end #1 presented. Alcaraz is chasing his 6th major trophy. We're still talking sports, but finally from the world of football, Chelsea, courtesy of João Pedro, kept their celebrations to a minimum after scoring twice to send Chelsea into the Club World Cup final. His goals proving to the undoing of his former club Fluminense in a bittersweet meeting at MetLife Stadium on Tuesday. The 23-year-old Brazil forward, who joined Chelsea from Brighton and Hove Albion 6 days ago, found the back of the net in the 18th minute with a superb strike, and again early in the second half with another excellent finish to seal his team's 2-0 victory. Pedro made his debut for Chelsea in their 2-1 quarter-final win over Palmeiras on Friday, with only a couple of training sessions under his belt. 4 days later, he was in the starting lineup. Chelsea faced the winner of the second semi-final Wednesday between Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid. The final is set for Sunday at MetLife Stadium. Enzo Maresca's side is looking to build on a successful 2024 and 2025 campaign, in which Chelsea finished fourth in the Premier League table and won the UEFA Conference League. And that's all we have for a sports wrap-up at this time. We'll take a very short breather. When we return, we'll have an extensive conversation on the show. Please stay with us.
Get ready for the exciting showdown. The biggest names, the toughest competition, and the most thrilling moments. From the gridiron to hardwood, and from the pitch to the track. Join us for Sports Central, the most electrifying sports program on television, every weekday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Spectrum Television. Sports Central, your home for sports.
Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Risk on your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
The depth of knowledge, fun, and entertainment you experience on Spectrum Television.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to this exciting moment. We talk about the best of stories in the world of sports. It is Sports Central. And my name is Vladimir. Exciting times ahead. A part of the conversation in today's edition of Sports Central will center around the Club World Cup. We saw the action yesterday. Chelsea Football Club making the most of the opportunity and the new signing, Joao Pedro, are becoming a star player. What a debut he had for them. Playing against his former club, Fluminense in this one, scoring a brace. Part of a conversation also, we'll be looking at the world of tennis, Wimbledon, and taking censuses. We'll look at those that have qualified for the semi-finals of it. First timers in that regard will be part of the conversation. And the likes of Rena Sabalenka, making it a third time into the semis. Well, similarly in the world of football, transfers here and go. And we'll look at a club World Cup that will be taking place. The big clash, definitely Paris Saint-Germain against Real Madrid. But the guys are sitting in the table of greatness, ready for the talking point, and that's one of the excitement that comes with it. But David, so good to see you today, looking different today.
I'm quite excited to return. It's been, of course, some waiting days since last week, so I will have to also acclimatize to the weather conditions. Well, I'm quite excited about the fact that we're gradually seeing the FIFA Club World Cup, getting to the end of it, at least one more game after today's game, and then we call it over for the players to have some rest before they start their respective pre-seasons ahead of the new season. Chelsea deserving, I would say, making it to the finals, and then it looks like Joao Pedro might just be a bargain for Chelsea after his first start, 2 goals for the side. And at this moment, it looks like Enzo Maresca and the boys are quite happy with the progress.
Enzo Maresca and the boys quite happy with the progress. Valentina, good to see you. I don't know if you're happy or not.
Oh, Chelsea, it's not the first time they're having a number 9 scoring on his debut. Not even 2 goals. Had Morata scoring 3 goals, for Chelsea before on his debut. Lukaku scored for Manchester United as well. We've had a lot of number 9 scoring, so it's not just rolling the carpet for the man. Let's see what he does when real season starts in English Premier League.
Well, I said I didn't know if Valentina was happy about it or not, but we're really getting the indices. We'll get to talk about it. But let's wait and see when the real season takes place. Not many people thought the man, Joao Pedro, would step up the gas at that much, and definitely we'll wait and see, especially in the course of the show. Now let's start a conversation from Wimbledon tennis at its tech center stage, getting even further interesting. The likes of Rena Sabalenka clutching past Laura Sigamoth in this one, reaching the semi-finals. At that semi-finals for the world #1, she's not won it before, but getting closer and closer. Well, David, you saw the game, you saw what happened in this one. When we talk about Wimbledon, it's a matter of big superstars turning up to the party, and we're thinking it could happen even further. But Arena Sabalenka, a 4-6, losing the first set, a 4-6 second set victory, 6-2, a 6-4 at the end of it against Sigamoth.
Well, early tester for, of course, Arena Sabalenka against Laura Sigmund, showing some signs of progress, especially in the first set. But I think Sabalenka, just like we talked about yesterday, about the lady's intention to do back to the grass court, event, which is the Wimbledon. I think she had that at the back of her mind that this is also a very special time for her to, make that particular statement of intent. Laura Sigmund, if you look at where she's seated, the WTA rankings, not many would actually look at that chance of even getting one set over Arena Sabalenka. But it is the Wimbledon, and for the very fact that she made her way to the quarterfinal, shows that she will definitely not be a string in the back for Sabalenka. Gave quite a good run, despite Sabalenka, throwing back and the second, and of course the third set to get victory. But there's some signs of improvement, especially from not two top-seeded players, doing quite well against top opponents at the Wimbledon. Deserving, I must say, for the Belarusian, due to the fact that she's got quality. And then for a world #1, I mean, much is expected of her as well. In as much as we're also talking about winning the Wimbledon before. But then if you also, go to competitions like this, you definitely want to be, among the top favorite to get this one over the line. So as we're making our way to the semi-finals now, clears the path for what to expect. I look at the next opponent she'll be facing at the semi-final level. Not so tough, many would say, in terms of, level and the quality she's posed at the moment. But I think Sabalenka is all in for it. Semi-final, one step further, we talk about the finals. Deserving win, I would say, yesterday.
A deserving win for Arena Sabalenka. She's world #1 for a reason. But other games that took place in the women's category yesterday was that of Anisumova getting a victory against our opponent, Pavlyuchenkova in this one. 6-1, 7-6 victory at the end of it for her, but it adds up the number the way it has to happen. Well, before I get to talk about the main game, let's look at what the fixture would be for today. It would be Iga Swiatek against Sansanova, and we're talking about Mirandreva against Belinda Bencic in this one. And what, unfortunately, now what are we looking at? What gets to happen now? Some top names that are still available now. We've talked about Arena Sabalenka in this one. What number one? But we still got the likes of Iga Swiatek. She takes on Sansanova. You think we might end up having Arena Sabalenka and Swiatek at the final?
Well, it looks like we're going to have that because when you look at it, there's also something that caught my attention. Look at the players still remaining in this particular stage of it. Like Marina Zabalenka, against Swiatek, you go to the men's category. Carlos Alcaraz, these are players who are known not to be doing so well when it comes to grass court events. So it shows that excuse of, oh, I don't really know how to do well in grass court events. It's just a matter of the mind psychology. When you were desperate for it, you're going to put in your best. Look at Iga Swiatek. She saw her level in the ranking reducing to world number 5 before this particular competition. She only went up to world number 4 at the start of the competition after getting a few wins. It shows that you can always do whatever you set your mind to do. And for Iga Swiatek, I'm very happy. I want to see her go all the way to the final. In fact, I'm on her team at the moment. I just want to see her maybe go back to world number 2 for now and see how she can push the lady Zabalenka till the end of the year.
Well, to David, not many people talking about Mirandreva and what she brings to the table. See that number 7 in this one, world number 7, but against Belinda Bencic, games gets a take place today. While we're looking at a big lot, Arena Sabalenka, Iga Swiatek, no one's going to talk about Belinda Bencic or Mirandreva has been in top form.
Yeah.
And what Fun made mention of something, he says, it went all motivational in this one. He said, for those big superstars, you get what you want, you get what you want.
Yeah.
But we know that sometimes it's quite difficult. What's not your favorite court based on where you grew up and how you practice. That's why this two part of form of Iga Swiatek and Arena Sabalenka have not been able to win it. The last 2 editions, it was more like a surprise package going on to win it. You think any of these other players might just usurp these guys and go on to win it?
Well, I'm looking at Mirandreva, quite regular name on the lips of men in recent times, but I won't actually, of course, look away from Belinda Bencic because she's actually experienced as well. As a matter of fact, she stayed more than Mirandreva, the WTA. But
what about Anisimova?
now Amanda Nisimova also quite experienced as well. As a matter of fact, in terms of the years she's actually played at top level. But then you look at the fact that bulk of those players were at that top. Some point something happened, and then they're finding themselves below the pecking order in terms of the top 30 or top 20. There's Wimbledon. Now, I'm looking at the fact that we're talking about the top seeded now, who of course are favourite to make it to the finals. But I'm also looking at other names who many haven't really seen them making it to the finals, also being at the quarterfinal stage. Belinda Bencic is one of those names. Gradually, of course, building those blocks of consistency.
Not to interrupt your talk, because I'm casting my mind towards the last 2 editions of it. Just like when you had Kreshikova go all the way to win it. Not many people thought it was going to happen, and the other that wanted. So similarly, we had Iga Swiatek at her best form, Arena Sabalenka at their best form. The last 2 editions, they couldn't make it. Maybe it could be another word, and it could be a year of Mirandreva or Mirandreva or Anisimova in that direction.
What it would be so delightful to look at those 2 names make it to the finals. But that's if you're leader of Zabalenka or maybe Iga Swiatek would actually make it to the finals and maybe face. I would really like to see the likes of Zabalenka making her way, and of course Mirandreva, to be very precise, because Mirandreva for me has been so excellent. Started last year up until now. We're still talking about her being in the top 10 of the WTA ranking, shows what she's been able to do in recent times. But I can't actually pinpoint who makes her way to the finals now. Yes, talk about current world number 1, former world number 1 Iga Swiatek being quite favourite. But we've seen surprises happen since the first round of competition. So it might just be the quarterfinal stage or the semi-final rather. Would even see more shockers happen if they do not take this particular game seriously. So it is also thrown open now. Belinda Bencic, Mirandreva, Arena Sabalenka, talk about Iga Swiatek. All of them have got decent opportunities, decent chances of making their way to the finals.
Well, decency is the word when it has to do with the finals and going all the way. Let's switch gear and move to the main game. See, Wimbledon are talking about exact maintain it. We'll begin with a player that's so close to becoming world number 1, world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz. Defending champion, has won it 3 times, 2 times rather. And when you talk about Wimbledon, the last 2 editions, it's Carlos Alcaraz staying beaten on it, and he's going for a hat trick. Hopefully gets to happen. Qualifying for the semi-finals in this one. Beating British Cameron Norrie. Remember, on Funny now, we talked about Cameron Norrie and thought probably Cameron Norrie has pulled that momentum to this level. Not many people thought he would be at the quarterfinals but it was definitely going to be the end of the road. And when he met Carlos Alcaraz, a 6-2, 6-3, 6-3 victory for Carlos Alcaraz. No struggle for Carlos Alcaraz. Put that side by side, the likes of Taylor Fritz also doing quite well because Taylor Fritz got the better of Kachanov now, Karen Kachanov, a 6-3, 6-4, a 1-6, a 7-6 victory. A world number 5 rating now, and the top 4 in the world thereabout. But the conversation for Taylor Fritz has been the very fact that he's gone through that momentum. He's not had a meteoric rise. Came on the scene 2016 on all the he's not won a Grand Slam before. 2016, a loss in the first round of all the Grand Slam he participated. 2018-2020 period, got to about 10th round, 7 times lost within that period. I think the last time out in US Open last year, got to the finals, and he's been in top 12 after beating Kachanov. He's saying he's in the best mental position. He meets Carlos Alcaraz. What are we expecting?
End of the road for Fritz. Because I think he's done enough. With Fritz is just one of those players where you'd always see him maybe once in a while make it to the final of the Grand Slam, but he's never going to touch the big one unless it's unless it's going to be against someone his caliber. Carlos Alcaraz is miles ahead of the man in quality. Let's be real with ourselves.
He's really improved.
He's improved. He's never breached top 4 in the world ranking, no matter what he's done.
But now he's in the top 4 in the world. So
he's not in the top 4 yet.
At the end of it.
But when you look at Carlos Alcaraz, I feel he's just miles ahead of Taylor Fritz. It's not just going to be possible to see. I don't see Taylor Fritz doing that. There's something about Carlos Alcaraz that I've always talked about. When the man gets in his stride, it's always difficult to stop him. When you would have stopped him was maybe at the beginning of his competition where he was struggling and all of that. But right now, the man is beginning to get more comfortable at Wimbledon. And just like you mentioned, he's won it twice already. He's beginning to feel at home. So right now, Taylor Fritz is going to be in no man's land against Carlos Alcaraz.
Well, for the thing I'm saying, right now, Taylor Fritz will be in no man's land against Carlos Alcaraz. The last time we saw a US player win a Grand Slam title was 2003, a long time ago.
I think I'm just basically, of course, satisfied with the fact that Taylor Fritz has actually come on of the stage and, of course, raised the bar a little bit for all the US international to follow, especially in the ATP scene. Look at the likes of Francis Tiafoe. I mean, 2 years ago, we were talking about him.
We got to the semi-finals against Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah,
Carlos Alcaraz got a victory at the US Open.
Absolutely. Being that shining light, but what happened? Last year, he slowed down a whole lot. This year, no way to be found as well. So, I think for Taylor Fritz, I do not know how, of course, he can actually stay on top for a very long period of time. But I must say I'm quite satisfied with his level of progress. And I just wish he can actually win a Grand Slam now that is still hot in form. Otherwise,
that has to be Carlos Alcaraz.
That's a good lot of job to do at the moment.
Probably you don't want him to be Carlos Alcaraz.
Not that I do not want him, but let's be realistic. I mean, the quality of Carlos Alcaraz, just like Paul mentioned. I mean, yesterday we talked about it, that it looks like Carlos Alcaraz, the more he plays at this Wimbledon, the more he gets better. And that masterclass against Norrie yesterday also underlined the level of improvement he's had from the round 2, round 3, round 4 up until the quarterfinal. So I do not think Carlos Alcaraz would lose to the man Taylor Fritz in that semi-final battle.
Well, many thoughts was Taylor Fritz here now. 2 guys here in the studio saying, don't worry, Taylor, it's over for you. You have to wait maybe another decade for a US player to get a win a Grand Slam. You never can tell. But 2 other guys are available that could challenge Carlos Alcaraz, talking about a title. One is Yannick Sinner, the current world number 1, and today he takes on a world number 10, Ben Shelton, in that regard. And the other quarterfinal encounter at center court would be the man, world number 22, Kubali, against Novak Djokovic, world number 6. From 14, we see the game's area of superstars now, expecting Djokovic to qualify and Yannick Sinner to get a better of Ben Shelton.
Well, Djokovic has been struggling. Let's be real with ourselves.
He's but serious, yeah.
When you're facing a very young opponent, you need to expect your opponent to bring the intensity, and I don't see Djokovic still being able to compete at the very highest level of intensity. Yes, he's still a good player.
In other words, Kubali get a victory over Djokovic.
He has the edge over. He's younger than Djokovic. So when I just look at it, I've watched Djokovic.
22 in the world.
I understand. I'm talking about the age now. When you look at the age, it gives you this. Younger players tend to bring more intensity when it comes to tennis. Look at it.
Well, he's faced younger player getting to this level.
Well, his experience has always helped him to grind out the results. But what if it's just not possible? Remember what Alex de Minaur did to him? Almost got that victory till the fourth set. He was leading 4-1, almost leading 5-1. Experience came off for him. But it might not happen with Kubali. But I just want Djokovic to progress with this particular one. But I don't see him getting past either of Yannick Sinner or Carlos Alcaraz.
Which would have a big star. We're going to talk about Yannick Sinner, Alcaraz getting to the next round. But first, for Djokovic, would be against Cavalli, the Italian in this one, a 22nd ranked player in the world. Yannick Sinner against Ben Shelton.
Well, I think it's quite difficult to look at the very fact that Ben Shelton is a shining light at the moment, current world number 10 in the ATP ranking, so that's a whole lot to look forward to as well. And they're also talking about Novak Djokovic. Who, at the moment, many are still looking forward to him breaking that record before he retires. And I think
that thing that happened.
Yeah.
You look at the line block.
You're almost there. You're almost there. But I do not know what gets to happen at the end of it. I still feel Novak Djokovic can still produce one more final dance at top level before he finally call it quits. I mean, last year was an eye opener when many were thinking he can no longer win top level titles.
Yeah.
Went to the Olympics, won the gold medal over there. So it's very possible that it's an open space. I may not actually know when exactly that will happen, but I still have this feeling Novak Djokovic can still win at least one more Grand Slam before he retires. I don't know what exactly he will do at Wimbledon now. Now we're getting towards the last four, the last two at the end of it. Now we're still talking about Carlos Alcaraz still being in the mix. I mean, he wants to make it hat-trick. Winning it twice, not enough. 3 times. My math also make a whole lot of sense. So I think for Novak Djokovic, just taking it one step at a time, never can tell what gets to happen if he finds his way in the final.
That's Yannick Sinner in the
Absolutely. So it's a whole lot now for Novak Djokovic.
Yeah.
But I can rule him out of all of this.
So that can rule him out of all of this. It reminds me of what happened to Serena Williams when Serena returned, and everyone was thinking she's going to get that final Grand Slam title. It never happened. She was stuck with what she had at the Open era. The numbers continue to be the same. Can it be the same thing for Novak Djokovic? Only time will tell. But for us, time isn't telling because we're going on a short break, and when we're back, it will be football stories all around the world. The Club World Cup are taking center stage. We'll talk about the Chan Eagles, what the preparation is like for them, and we'll get to talk about other stories. But before I get to talk about football stories when we're back, we'll touch a bit on table tennis. Don't go anywhere.
Get ready for the exciting showdown, the biggest names, the toughest competition, and the most thrilling moments. From the gridiron to hardwood, and from the pitch to the track. Join us for Sports Central, the most electrifying sports program on television, every weekday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Spectrum Television. Sports Central, your home for sports.
Welcome back at Sports Central. My name is Brian. Welcome to Diving Funny Teller, still with me for company. We're going nowhere. We're going to talk about football stories, but before we talk about football stories, let's start with table tennis. Aruna Quadri, definitely Africa's best player in the mix. Well, we're going straight and talk about the game. He's about to face the US Grand Smash. He's about to face world number 4, Harimoto, in US Smash. Well, the tournament took place. The block was at a round of 32 clashes for Aruna Quadri. Well, the third seed, Tomokazu Horimoto, could be such a top nut to crack. But before I get to talk about what happens, I'll start with you. We saw, I think, the first round of it. Aruna Quadri, one of Africa's greatest players in the world of table tennis, got a victory over his opponent, Zhagi Hao of China. 11-9, 11-8, 11-7 in just 30 minutes. But we're talking about him facing this man, Tomokazu Harimoto of Japan. How difficult it is. They've met 6 good times, and in recent times it's been difficult for Aruna Quadri. 4 times he's won, 2 times Aruna Quadri has won against this man. The closest, I think, was in Frankfurt in November 2024, where Aruna staged the upset by aging Harimoto 3-2. But The most recent encounter that took place in Doha, the WTT star contender Doha, earlier this year, well, the man, Harimoto, the special runner, a 3, the massive 0. So what a game we have in our hands for Runa Quadri.
Well, it's always very difficult for Runa, especially in the last couple of years, to get the better, top names in the WTT category. Look at world number 1, world number 2, world number 3, even world number 5. Very difficult, I must say. And that could also be solely down to the fact that we've talked about in recent times, the man also slowing down in terms of his level of quick fit, especially responding to balls and also coming in. Talked about technicality as well, which also has to do with how fast you are, especially in the table tennis scene, which I think the man is also gradually slowing down in all of that particular category. Well, against Harry Motor, I just want to enjoy the game much later today. I can't actually stick my head for Aaron Quadri. Yes, I understand he's got quality, but now we should be realistic with ourselves. He's also gradually winding down in terms of how electrifying it's been in recent times, especially international competitions like this. So I enjoy the game later today, and I just wish he wins it.
No matter wishing for Runa Quadri there, but not trusting him enough. The other Nigerian that was in the context, we're talking about Olajido Mataya. For Olajido Mataya, he was beaten out of the competition quite early in the competition. But quickly, let's move to the world of football and talk about what's been transpiring in the world of football. Some details we have to follow. We hear the Super Eagles camp is swelling to 26 as 5 more players join the side. A look at some of the players that joined the side, the likes of Musa Zayed of El Kenemi Warriors, Aminu Adams, Kano Pillars, Anas Yusuf, Nasarawa United, Godwin Obaje, Rivers United, and Kabiru Mohammed, Kwara United. The inclusion brings the total number of players in camp to 26. The camp is warm in Fontina, the Chan Eagles in that direction. Preparation top gear, looking forward to the WAFU competition that will be taking place, and afterwards, good preparation, looking forward to the African Nations Cup and the rest of it.
No, definitely. I think exciting times for the Chan Eagles. I think the level of excitement in camp has never been this high. We look at the past 5 years, past 10 years, thereabout, because the Chan Eagles are always going to be on the performance. But when you look at the manner in which they qualified for this particular Chan tournament, you would expect more from the side. Very dominant and very clinical with their chances. So a lot of Nigerians are already looking forward to seeing this team go all the way and even winning the whole thing. And also the expectations surrounding Mandela Gumbedere and Fidelis in the Chuku, what they've been able to do since they took over this particular side. Different stuff we've seen from the Chan Eagles before. They will not even be able to score goals when they get to face top opponent. But in the qualifiers, the last round of qualifiers, they dispatched the Ghanaians by 3 goals. So it shows that this team might just be ready to go to the Chan proper and get the job done. I'm excited also to see what Eric Sekuchel gets to add to the quality of this side, because Daniel Gumbedere, no matter what you want to look at it, he's an home-based manager. He's not really got that experience when he goes to international competitions like this. So I just want to see what Eric Sekuchel will bring to the picture. Give these boys more technicality, and then we'll see it on the field of play.
But then we'll see it on the field of play. What boys get to do, technicalities, the conversation from Tina and the guys. Well, quickly from the Nigerian Premier Football League, let's look for the opportunities in it. Well, we hear the likes of Musa Atali, counterpillars attack, and that's why general manager role. Well, to them, it's brought many questions. Many people talked about it, what they had. Ahmed Musa was general manager. I remember often seeing me about it and saying, look, is he going to play football and dashing all these guys to all these people? I call him a governor for a reason, but a general manager, footballer.
Well, I do not know how he tends to separate those roles. Maybe playing as a player, then after then, he will definitely be the general manager. Absolutely. He's not yet the club chairman of they have a club chairman, it's manufacturer, so he's not the general manager. Maybe there won't be any conflict between him as a player and, of course, the general manager of the side. Quite good. I want to see how he doubles the role.
I hope he wouldn't tell the coach you have to play me. I'm the general manager. You have to do things one way.
I haven't want to look at it. There is some level of influence from Ahmed Musa as a footballer. And I can't figure at the side. I don't even think he's being paid as a footballer in that kind of place.
He said, I don't want the money, don't worry.
He definitely tells you the influence he's got. But I want to see how he changes the side. Canopilas at the moment are without a manager. I mean, of course, a club coach, as a matter of fact. I mean, Bala Mohammed left the side at some point last season. So yet to appoint a new gaffer ahead of the start of the new season. Quite good for the man if he wants to continue playing football.
If he wants to continue playing football, but funny thing, the governor seems to be a perfect model of what we ask for when he says ex-international, should return to the Nigerian Premier Football League. And he's not just playing football, he's supporting the youngsters, he's keeping motivation high, he's donating stuff to them. Remember, sometime you were the one that said it was good for him to be at the national team. He was sharing some gift and a good motivation, pocket motivation there.
When you have a player like Ahmed Musa in the squad, you always, tend to get up the motivation of the other players around him because of what he does. Everyone has always talked about. I remember watching an interview where Kelechi Iheanacho, who is also that kind of iconic figure in the Super Eagles squad, was talking about Ahmed Musa, and the way he talked about him, he's being loved around. Anytime he's around the squad, there's this motivation. So I think for Kano Pillars, we're definitely going to see the rebranding of that team in the next 5 years.
I talk about rebranding of that thing, but let's talk about a player that's really not been branded. Who needs rebranding? Victor Osimhen. Well, from information we're hearing, when it has to do with transfer, it would be that Napoli received 75 million euros offer to sell Osimhen as Galatasaray a push for a move. Well, according to information we had early hours of the morning, Victor Osimhen rejected Manchester United because they were asking for a pay cut for him or a pay drop for him before he could join them. And perspective is United are struggling. It seems like he doesn't seem to be well valued by some of the big clubs in Europe. And the man says, well, I go to where I'm valued, Galatasaray. He told Napoli, look, I'm going to Galatasaray. Enough of all these gimmicks, but Napoli stood their ground. 75 million euros, and it is for Galatasaray.
Well, I think Galatasaray are quite intentional about getting a Nigerian international due to what he did during his loan spell last season for the football club. I mean, one of the hottest strikers in Europe, however you want to look at it. I still find it very funny why top clubs in Europe are not going for the man. Maybe it could also be situations where we do not tend to really understand the details of the way down to Napoli to accept the structure of the deal or maybe reject it for Galatasaray to come back to the third offer.
The first came with about 48 million pounds.
Absolutely.
Earlier, billion euros earlier, and Napoli rejected. So it means if you need all the money, he's going to stay with us for about 5 years.
Absolutely.
We're going to pay every year for him.
But I think it's quite good. It's a good offer for Napoli. I remember the clubs where he initially rejected the offer from them.
Yeah.
So Galatasaray are the only European club that have shown intention. So if they accept the offer, good for them. If they do not, Victor Osimhen will be free agent by next season, and he leaves for a free without getting any penny offers.
All right. And now we've talked about the interest of the clubs. Maybe Victor Osimhen gets to at Galatasaray the next 5 years. What does it make of him now? Does it make sense?
Well, I
many saw him former African Footballer of the Year, expecting him to play top level football. Yes, he's going to win.
I can't really think what it was last season. We were talking about Victor Osimhen January transfer window when he was still playing for Napoli. He was actually still playing, and Paris Saint-Germain kept calling for him. But he's forcing now to move to Galatasaray. If I did that with Paris Saint-Germain, he would have moved.
Because he thought he'll have lots of options. Chelsea were in talks, Manchester United in talks. At some point we had Liverpool. So as a footballer, you definitely know the transfer market is coming in, and you have to wait and see. But at this point, it's not really out.
I would also say one thing about this Osimhen thing is that he's not come out to say I want to go anywhere, and that's what clubs like. Look at the recent transfer window. Kylian Mbappe, when he was at Paris Saint-Germain, came out to say I want to go to Real Madrid.
No, most
and he helped him.
Sitting on the back foot for a long time now. Came in, first start with the side, had his first game in the quarterfinals. The second game is starting. Many would ask questions because not often you get to see new players come in and immediately start for the football club. But he's done that with the side. 2 sweet goals, I must tell you. Go back and watch those goals. You'll definitely be impressed about the man's ability to score goals left, right, and center. Good stuff for Chelsea, and I hope it continues this way.
Good stuff for Chelsea.
In the Premier League, he's not going to face a 44-year-old goalkeeper. He's not going to face a 37-year-old defender and a 35-year-old defender. So let's see what happens. He's been scoring. He scored 6 penalties last season, and he scored 11 goals in total. So how many goals is that? Let's see what happens when the season starts. Let's see what happens.
Even the advantage.
That's why Chelsea went for him. He's already shown in the first game. Let's wait and see.
We just wait until August, right?
It's
just about the corner.
Don't be a bad egg.
No, I'm not.
Senegal has played well in this particular match. No, say something good about
wonderful goals. Wonderful goals.
That's beautiful to hear.
No.
Thank you. Let's move ahead. We're not talking about Manchester United. Well, many would argue Manchester United.
You will score a hat-trick against Onana.
Hold on. Manchester United go to the other side. The left side now facing Paris Saint-Germain and the former coach. Unfortunately, I'll stick with you now. I don't know which of
That's going to be facing his former club.
yeah.
Definitely going to bring a lot of emotions, and news emanating out of France is that the man has now reignited that particular relationship with Nasser Al Khelafi, because he took them to court, so he's withdrawn the case from the court over the old stipends and all of that. So I would say maybe
he
have a gentleman agreement
he's
that
not withdrawn everything. According to what we had, when it has to do with the money, he needs his money. But there was an extra
the case is not in court anymore.
That he called. What I mean is, there were two scenarios. The other one was about the psychological damage that was done to him. So he's withdrawn that one. But for the money, says, I need my money. Well, whatever what's happening in this one.
Well, I think it's quite a good game. Zambians unfortunately doesn't have time for press conference due to the weather conditions.
Weather condition, I couldn't lie.
Absolutely. But we look forward to the game. It should be quite a delight to look forward to. Arguably two of the best European teams at the moment. Defending champions.
Two of the best?
Two of the best. I mean, one of the most successful teams in the UEFA Champions League history, facing on the current champions of the UEFA Champions League.
Call whatever you're saying. In WAFCON, as we set to close, two matches take place today. We'll be looking at Zambia women take on Senegal women, and there are Congo against the host, Morocco. Remember, there are Congo lost the first leg, so good opportunity for Morocco to see how it can stay the authority after the pool draw against Zambia. And Zambia, Senegal, they play 2-2. Zambia against Morocco. Now the face Senegal, who thumbed Congo there 4-0. We'll see what happened from a transfer point of view. Manchester United have confirmed Matheus Cunha. In front of us, quite excited. Arsenal are ex-Manchester United player Gabriel Hansen in that coaching lineup. They will be handling the youth side, and Manchester United sports are battling for Deadly. And Arsenal are a swap deal in bid to land a Berechi Eze. Well, tomorrow we get to talk about a Berechi Eze's case with David. They have to talk about it. But time is fast spent. We have to bounce now. Thank you for being a part of it. I don't know who needs to have transfer or whatsoever, but I'm phone with bad blood. I don't know what. Let me get a final word from you.
Well, let's see what João Pedro does next season.
I'm back to João Pedro. Thank you for your
exciting time to be here.
Well, exciting. João Pedro will get a surprise before they tell next season. We bounce. Thank you. We love you.